I love a traveler's notebook setup video. The fact that this system is modular and you can change it around whenever you want to, whenever you need something different, is very exciting to me. So I find myself watching a lot of videos of other people putting theirs together and kind of getting inspiration for what to do with mine. So that's what I'm going to do today. I am going to open up this Traveler's Company Love and Trip. It's a beautiful dark red limited edition cover that they released a while back, and I missed it on the first run and really lucked out because they did a restock halfway through the year, and I happened to get on all the notification emails on all my favorite stationery stores, so they all reached out to me when they got more, and I just jumped at it. Honestly, what made me want to buy this more than anything else is seeing everyone's aged, patinaed, used versions of this cover. I just really like the way it marks up, and it turns darker, and it gets shiny. Just stunning. I'm so glad I got one. And so I took out the insert that it came with because I already had a plan for it, and then I decided to be a little bit brave. I had purchased these Grumpy Nook iron-on decals that are designed specifically for this regular size traveler's notebook, but you can cut it apart, and that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to kind of create my own little collage using these gorgeous illustrations from Grumpy Nook. Love this artist. Highly recommend. They have a lot of really pretty journaling stuff, and these iron-on decals are just so cute. I bought 2 packages because I was nervous that I wouldn't use them if I felt like they were too precious. So I really liked this one little corner. I also like that the page it comes on is clear, so I was kind of looking around and trying to imagine what the different designs would look like and where I wanted to place them ahead of time. The whole process of adding these was actually really easy, which is nice because I was nervous that I was going to mess it up. But once you have the decals you want to use trimmed out from the back sheet, you can put over a little bit of parchment paper and then iron on for the amount of time the package says. And I have this tiny little craft iron, which is wonderful because I don't like having to get a big iron out, and having just like this tiny one around for little mini craft projects has been really helpful for a lot of the types of crafts that I do. And so I put this little bush with the little heart-shaped flowers on the back and this little like pinkish purple star, and it is just adorable. I can't get over how much I love these designs. It feels like there's a painting on the front of my traveler's notebook, and I love it. This is the back, obviously, but you get the idea. And basically, once you've ironed them on, you can take the parchment paper off and peel off the little plastic, and then put the parchment paper back on and hit it with just a little bit more heat. And they also said if these start to lift up over time, you can do the same thing. Parchment paper, a little more heat, and melt it back down in place. I recommend starting in a less obtrusive place like I did with the back corner before you go onto the front, because after I saw what it looked like on the back, I was like way more confident and ready to go for the front. So I think there was a pine cone in the top left corner of this little section, and I ended up replacing it with one of the acorns, which I love acorns. I don't know if you know this about me. I have acorn tattoos now. Now on to what's going to go on the inside. So I ordered this zip pouch. It's a cotton zipper pouch from Traveler's Company, from Yosaka Stationery. I have this in, I think, an olive green in another one of my traveler notebook setups, and I really loved it for storing a small assortment of writing and drawing supplies that I use most often in these notebooks. That way I can take them around with me everywhere. I picked the beige because I didn't want it to clash with the red leather cover, and I also thought maybe I will eventually add some iron-on decals to the pouch as well, so a nice light neutral base seemed like a good option. Now, if you've seen some of my previous shorts, you might recognize this journal, which I set up here on my channel a while back. It's been very loved since then, and I'm going to actually steal some of these charms off of this one and switch them onto the red one. I love this cover. I will switch back to this cover at some point inevitably, but one of my favorite things about the Traveler's Notebook system is that when you change the cover, it feels like you got a whole new notebook, but you don't have to start the insides over again. And so I actually am filling up journals like nobody's business, and sketchbooks, just because when I feel like I need a new one, I don't have to start fresh. So I actually decided at this point that I might still actually want the elastic on the new one, and maybe I can put the new red elastic on the old journal cover, which I am also using still, but for a different setup. I very rarely get rid of things. I just find different uses for them depending on what works with my creative process at the moment. And so this is the finished iron decal situation on here, and it's just a dream. I love the way this looks. And I think it's going to be really cute with this light bluish gray elastic. These are really easy to change out, and so I usually end up picking my favorite color of the ones I've got around and swapping them out when I get a new cover. And now that I'm happy with that, I am going to fill it up with all kinds of notebooks and stuff on the inside. Now, I already kind of picked what I wanted to go in here, because otherwise I will sit and look at options for an hour. So this is a Baumkuchen grid insert. It has Tomoe River paper on the inside, and it's just beautiful. I'm going to use that for writing. I have this cotton zip pouch, which I showed you earlier. And then this is one of my favorite things ever. This is my kind of urban sketching notebook. I draw places that I go with a light blue mechanical pencil and sometimes add a little bit of black fine liner line work on top of it. And so I'm going to use a elastic that I bought separately because it doesn't have a knot in it, and I love that about it. But the ones that come with the cover also work. And so the way that I usually do my setup is I figure out which order I want the notebooks to go in. And so I think I'm going to do the grid notebook first. No, I'm going to do the sketchbook notebook first, and then I'm going to do the grid after. Find the middle point in both of those notebooks and stretch an extra elastic separate from the cover around the center point of both of the notebooks. So those are attached to each other, and then you can open up the cover, which from Traveler's Company only has one elastic on the inside to attach these to, and then you just slip that double notebook situation under the single elastic that comes in the Traveler's notebook cover. You can fit more. You can put a third one on the main elastic that's attached to the cover between those two covers. You can also, I think, piggyback 2 more notebooks and slide them through the same way. But if you think that's a problem for you and you want to really stuff your notebook, there are companies that make ones with more elastics built in and more space. Chic Sparrow is my favorite of those, and I have a discount code for them. So if you would be interested in that type of cover, I'll put more information about where you can get those in the video description below. But for this setup, I wanted something more compact because then I could put it in my bag and it wouldn't take up as much space. And I also don't glue like ephemera or stickers into either of these notebooks. I have junk journals that are a lot thicker for other setups. This one is going to stay relatively the same size though, and so it is just perfect for this cover. It all fits really nicely. I also had never done that before, where you take the flap from the cotton zipper pouch and wrap it around the notebooks, almost like a little trifold. And so I wanted to give that a try, kind of to keep the edges of those notebooks from getting all scuffed up in my bag. I do like that this cotton zipper insert can be flipped upside down, and so usually, like in my last setup where I used a pouch like this, I put the zipper section in the back part of the notebook and the flap in the front. So you can kind of adjust it as you go and for what you need. Now these are the tools that I use in this particular notebook. I have a brown Muji gel pen, a light blue Pilot Color Eno mechanical pencil, a little mini twistable Tombow eraser, which is very helpful for somebody who uses mechanical pencils a lot because those pencils have tiny, tiny erasers. Also some blue lead to refill that pencil because I use it so often and I always get questions about it. So many compliments. It's just a lovely color for sketching, whether you end up inking on top of it or not. I also throw in 1 or 2, maybe 3 black fine liner pens in different widths and or line thicknesses. And so today I have the Sakura Pigma Micron in there, and it all fits pretty nicely. It does fill up the notebook a little bit, but I still don't have any like notebook overhang on the edge, so this works out pretty well for me. I was also curious to see if the whole full setup would fit back in this bag that the cover came in, and it does. I feel like I don't have one right on hand, but I feel like the bag that comes with the ones that aren't limited edition is just meant for the cover itself and really won't fit the bigger setups that I have. So that's a nice option. Then I attached this clip to one of the covers. I love their brass clips specifically because they don't really form an indent on any of the papers. I feel like some clips have like a jagged edge on them, and then they kind of leave a mark on the paper, and this one doesn't. It's very smooth and kind of rounded where it actually holds onto the paper. So very useful, especially because these notebooks don't really lie flat. I also wanted to find somewhere to include this teeny tiny paper airplane charm that I got from Baumkuchen. I thought maybe I would put it on the bookmark, but I find that it annoys me to have some kind of charm on the bookmark. I like for the bookmark to be out of the way and not make any like sounds when I'm dropping it places. And then I thought maybe it would work on the spine, which would be kind of cute. I ended up putting it on the zipper pull, which I had never done before, and it's kind of perfect for that spot. And there's already going to be, because the zipper pull is also metal, it's going to make a noise when it hits the table and things like that, so it doesn't create any additional sounds, if that makes sense. So here's the full setup from start to finish. We have a cotton zipper pouch in the front with pens and an eraser, an extra lead for the pencil that I keep in here for sketching. And then the next book is my urban sketching notebook with drawings of all the places that I go and little notes about my adventures there. Definitely one of my all-time favorites. If you'd like to see more videos of these books, I've filled up 3 or 4 just like this, and it just makes me really happy to do this. I get kind of behind, but it's a fun thing to work on because I keep photos in my phone of all the places that I go, so I always have a reference if I'm like I don't have enough time to sit and draw. And then we've got a clip in here, and then in the back I have a Tomoe River paper grid notebook that I'm going to use for creative writing. I've been kind of wanting to write little kind of creative non-fiction writing. I usually am a thoughts and feelings and documenting my days journaler, but lately I've been feeling a little more like I want to try something different. So we will see how having a super inspiring, gorgeous notebook will help me out with that. And then I remembered that I actually wanted to add a pencil board in here, so I'm going to go with the coffee and notebooks one. I like having this in here because the pocket with the pens in it is a little bit bumpy, and that way I have kind of more of a flat writing surface to work with here. I hope that seeing my whole setup process gives you some ideas and inspiration for your own journal setups, and I'm really happy that you're here. Thank you for sticking all the way until the end of the video, and as a little surprise, here is a bonus.
Mommy?
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh, my, the art teacher really likes you.
The art teacher likes me?
Yeah,
How did you know that?
she told me.